A star B belongs to S, then we can say that we can say that star is a binary operation in that set. So very simple. So why we seen lot of example means this is the first axiom for proving a set with some operation is group. So the first axiom is very most important axioms. Okay. So similarly we have to check the remaining axioms. Okay. Students, there are two named Jaikumar. That is just I move on to my mobile. Okay. Just I stop the presentation here. Okay. Students, I show some sheet. It's visible. Anyone reply me? My voice is audible. Please reply me quickly.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir,
Okay, 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 okay.
Okay.
Ah, so in last class, what we seen that is, suppose here I assume the set of all integers. Say set of all integers is set equal to that is dot 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 minus 3 minus 2 minus 1 0 1 2 3. This is called set of all integers. So suppose I assume my operation is addition. My operation is addition. Okay. First, what we I try to prove if we choose any two element in Z, if we add those two elements because my operation is addition. Okay. If we add those two elements, whether this result is belongs to Z or not, you have to verify this. Okay. If it's satisfied, then we can say that that is called closure axiom. Okay. Obviously, the sum of two integers is again an integer. So first axiom, closure axiom is satisfied. This is called by this is called by closure axiom. Closure axiom. Okay. Then next one, suppose if we choose three element in the set, directly I can choose. Suppose I can choose 2 comma 3 comma 4 from Z. If we add 2 plus 3, then with 4, then with again add with 4, which is equal to 2 plus 3 plus 4. That is, first I add 2 plus 3, then later I can add 4. Otherwise, first I can 3 plus 4, then later I can add 2, whether this expression is true or not. So such expressions exist, then we can say that this is called associative axiom. This is called associative axiom. So this is second axiom for proving the group structure. This is called associative axiom. Okay. Then suppose if you choose any element in Z, if you choose any element in Z, suppose if you choose any element in Z, there exists a element say E belongs to Z, there exists a element E belongs to Z, okay, such that the addition of those two elements is nothing but a first element. Addition of those two elements is nothing but a first element. This axiom exists, then we can say that this is an identity axiom, that the element is called by identity element for that set with operation addition. So very important, first this condition is satisfied as well as this is satisfied, that is that identity element should belongs to the Z. Suppose we choose a set of all natural numbers n. If we add any element in n with 0, definitely we will get that element in in n. But the identity element 0 doesn't belongs to n. So in that case, identity axiom fail. So the not only the condition satisfied, the identity element should belongs to the corresponding set. So this is called identity axiom. So which is equal to, you have to verify. Once you can verify this, easily satisfied E plus A also A. E plus A, E plus A also A. This is called identity axiom. First I prove the closure axiom, that is if you choose two elements from the given set, then add it or apply the corresponding operation, the resultant is belongs to the same set, that is called closure axiom. The second one, choose the three elements from the given set, just add the first two elements, then add with the third element, resultant with third element, which is equal to just I add two second and third element, then add with the first element, both are same. This is called associative axiom. Then the third one, identity axiom, that is if you choose any element in the given set, the register element in the given set, the sum of those two elements is nothing but first element, that is A plus E equal to E. If this condition is satisfied, identity axiom, especially the E should belongs to the given set. So this is possible in Z? Yes, because if you add A plus E, you will get A. That means your E is 0. Then only the identity axiom satisfied. Obviously, E belongs to Z. So in Z, addition is in Z, identity axiom satisfied with respect to addition. So identity element is 0. Okay. Then one more. Similarly, if I choose any element in Z, if I choose any element in Z, the register element in Z such that the sum of two elements is nothing but my identity element 0. In oftenly we say E, but here the identity element is 0, so I can mention A plus A inverse equal to 0. Okay. So easily you can identify your A inverse. What is your A inverse here? A inverse equal to minus A. You have to verify whether minus A belongs to the given set or not. Obviously it belongs to Z, because A is belongs to Z, the negative of that number is also belongs to Z. If A does not belong to Z, definitely minus A does not belong to Z. So A belongs to Z, definitely minus A belongs to Z. So this is called inverse axiom. So what is your inverse axiom? If you choose any element in Z, if you choose any element in Z, the register element in Z such that the addition of two elements is nothing but the corresponding identity element. Here why I am called addition. So given operation is addition. In wherever the given the corresponding operation, you have to apply the appropriate operation. Okay. So from this easily you can derive your A inverse. The similar way you have to do the similar way you have to do in the problem also. Just take A plus A inverse or A star A inverse equal to E. Just apply E. Simplify it, you will get A inverse. Once you have to verify whether A inverse belongs to the corresponding set or not. This is the most important. From the expression easily you can find it. Suppose in inverse axiom A star E equal to A. From that expression easily I can identify E, but you have to verify whether E belongs to the given set or not. Similarly, in inverse axiom, I start with A plus A inverse equal to E. Easily I can derive A inverse, but you have to verify whether A inverse belongs to the given set or not. This is called inverse axiom. So these four axiom together with the set under the some binary operation, we call this is an group. Simply I can say that Z is a given group, then my operation is addition. Together the above four conditions satisfied, we can say that Z comma plus is a group. Okay. So now we go to the proper definition. So first is closure axiom. Closure axiom means whether that operation is valid in the set. Choose two elements from the given set, apply the operation, the resultant should belong to the set. This is called closure axiom. Associative axiom means pick three elements from the given set. So first add the first two elements, then resultant with the third element, just apply the operation, which is equal to apply the operation second and third element, then first element with the resultant of second and third element. This is called associative. So identity axiom means if you choose any element from the given set, apply the operation with the element in the set, the fixed element in the set, say E, the resultant is the first element. This is called identity axiom. You have to verify whether E belongs to the given set or not. Similarly, inverse axiom, if you choose any element in the given set, there exists element A inverse in the set, okay, then when you apply the operation which is equal to identity element, from this expression easily you can derive A inverse, but you have to verify whether A inverse belongs to the given set or not. Okay, so these four properties called first one is closure axiom, second one is associative axiom, third one is identity axiom, fourth one is inverse axiom. Okay, so all together we can say that this is a group. Okay, now I stop here presenting, just I move on to PP. So last class we stopped with okay, now we are going to see the proper definition of group. Okay, what is the definition of group? G is a non-empty set. G is a non-empty set, and star is a binary operation on G. So here G is an you have to be very careful, because in quiz type of problem this is most important. First we can conclude that G is a non-empty set. The second one is star is a binary operation on G. Whether star is a binary operation G, then G comma star is called group if the following conditions are satisfied. So first non-empty group means the given set is non-empty. Okay, then the given operation is binary operation. What's the first property? That is, if you choose any two element in G, apply the operation, the resultant also belongs to G. This is called closure of G under star or closure axiom. The second one is associative axiom or associative property. For if you choose any three element in G, so first apply the operation for second element, third element, then apply the same operation with the A, which is equal to A star B star C. This is called associative axiom. Then if you choose any element in G, the direct element E belongs to G, such that A star E is equal to E star A equal to E. This is called the existence of identity or identity axiom. So oftenly in the problem we use only we consider A star E equal to A. From that I can derive E. At last I have to check whether E belongs to G or not. If E belongs to G, definitely identity axiom satisfied. Then for every A belongs to G, there is element A inverse belongs to G, such that A star A inverse equal to A inverse star A is equal to E. So this is satisfied. Then this is called inverse axiom. In other words, existence of inverse. So all the four axioms satisfied, then it is denoted by G comma star is a forms a group. Okay, clear? See, sir, you told that, please listen, you told that when you do the problem, we consider only A star E, which is equal to E, okay? Why you choose only one term, but why we have to given in the two expression in the definition? So in other words, here I can choose it. Suppose if we choose A and A star, A star A inverse equal to E, finally we can derive A inverse. Why need this expression? Because oftenly, suppose in group structure, if you take a matrix, star is a multiplication, AB cannot be equal to BA. In that case, we have some problem. So, for avoid that problem only, they introduce A star E as well as E star E. You have to verify. So, in some places, one is enough. Even though you have to verify the second expression also. That is A star E equal to E. So, if you derive E, okay. Similarly, you can take E star A equal to E. You have to derive E also. Okay, but in your problem, if you take only one expression, then derive it easily. You can get the answer. No need to check another one. But originally, you have to check both the condition also. First, I can consider A star E equal to A, then derive E. Similarly, I have to consider E star A equal to E. After that, you have to derive E. Both way you have to do it. Okay. So next one is fifth property, commutative property. Uh, so let G be a non-empty set and the star is a binary operation on G. If A star B is equal to B star A, for every A comma B belongs to G, then G satisfies the commutative property. Commutative property means simple. Choose any two element, apply the operation, change the order, then apply the operation. If both are equal, then we can say that the set or the group satisfies the commutative axiom or set satisfies the commutative property. Okay. So abelian group. So first we see the definition of group. So abelian group play a vital role in algebraic structure. Okay. So what do you mean by abelian group? For abelian group, first of all, G comma star is a group. Okay. Suppose some set satisfies the commutative property, you cannot say that that is a abelian group. Okay. So first you want to say a group is abelian group or a set with some operation is abelian group. First of all, you have to prove that that set with the operation is a group. Then only you have to check whether the commutative property is satisfied or not. Okay. Directly you cannot check the commutative property and then you cannot say that the given set with the operation is abelian group. If you want to say a set with some operation is abelian group, first you have to prove G comma star is a group, then you have to check the commutative property. If the commutative property satisfies, then G comma star is an abelian group. Okay, did you understand? For proving abelian group, a set with some operation satisfies the group condition, then only you have to check the commutative property. Finally, you can say that G comma star is an abelian group. Okay. Note, the first condition in the definition of the group could have been omitted if we simply require the binary operation for G, because already I told that the definition of binary operation as well as closed axiom both are same. So when you are going to prove a set with some operation is group, the first one is that operation is a binary operation. You have to check that one. Then only we can check condition one by one. If you check the set satisfies the binary operation, obviously satisfy the closure axiom because both are same. Okay. Since star is in binary and closure axiom will be satisfied automatically. Star is in binary, closure axiom satisfied automatically. Order of a group. Okay. What do you mean by order of a group? Simply the number of elements in the group. Okay. So order of group, the number of distinct element in the group. If we say the number of element in the group is an order, that is wrong. See, these are all very key point in your quiz program. Okay. Suppose I define uh, order of the group. It means the first option, the number of elements in the group. The second option, the number of distinct element in the group. The third option, we can say something. Okay. So in that case, if we choose the number of elements in the group, that is wrong. So the correct answer is the number of distinct element in the group. This is called order of a group. These are all very, very key points. Suppose in your university announce the quiz exam, these are all very, very important. Okay. So the number of distinct element in a group is called, it's an order of the group. It is denoted by modulus of G. In other words, we can say that cardinality of G, because you know the word cardinality. Suppose we have some set. What is the cardinality of the set? The distinct element in the set. That is called cardinality of cardinality of the set. Okay. Okay. Groups are classified into finite group as well as infinite group. In research area, finite groups play a vital role, because in my research also, finite field we see later in unit 2. We already I told that unit 2 is a research, that is in the unit I did many research. Okay, so my research, the unit 2 is helped a lot for understanding many concepts. Okay, so oftenly in naturally we have many infinite group or infinite field, but rarely we have a finite group. So suppose you want to uh, need a finite group or finite field, we need addition, that is modulo operation. Then only we get easily finite group or finite field. We will see later. Okay, but finite group play a vital role in current scenario. Okay. So what do you mean by finite group? What do you mean by infinite group? When the number of elements in a group is finite, then G is called finite group. When the number of elements in a group is infinite, then G is called infinite group. Okay, the number of elements finite, then G is called finite group. The number of elements infinite, then we call G is an infinite group. Okay, now what we seen, first we seen the definition of binary, then we seen definition of closure axiom, associate axiom, identity axiom, inverse axiom. All the four axiom together we can call the given set with binary operation is a group. What do you mean by semi group? Okay, so only I speak with up to 25 minutes. I am only speaking. Okay, just anyone reply me. Already you studied in your plus two, as well as you studied in your discrete mathematics course. What do you mean by semi group? Anyone reply me? So last class I start. If I ask name and give the, suppose I call some name and give the answer, means suppose that person gives the answer, I will give the extra mark. Already told you. Okay. So today I start with last class. Okay. Penny, just reply me. What do you mean by semi group? Ponmoli, Pradakshina, Prasanna Venkatesh, Praveena Menon, Praveen Karthik, Preeti, Minusha, Prithivi Vishnu Priya, Ragini K, Rahul A, Rajashri. Okay, Vinusha from section C. Section B, no one answer me. At least section C. Vinusha, what do you mean by semi group? Semi group, did you remember? If it is remember, say, sir, I remember. Otherwise, sir, I forgot. Please at least reply me. Vinusha, Ujwala. No, sir, I forgot. Ujwala, no, sir, I forgot. Okay. Okay, group means first four axiom is group. Okay, semi means how many axioms it may satisfy. Any guess? See, group means four axioms satisfied, then I say group. So what do you mean by semi group? Any guesses? Group means four axioms, semi means? Obviously two. 4 by 2. Half of the 4 axiom is nothing but 2. So only we call this is an semi-group. Okay. That is, definition for semi-group is S is a non-empty set, star is a binary operation on S, then S comma star is said to be a semi-group if it satisfies the closure and associative axiom. First two axiom, not 3 and 4. Suppose, see, group means you have to, why we call first one is the closed axiom, second one is the associative, third one is identity, fourth one is inverse. So you have to, you should follow the order. Okay. So semi means first two conditions satisfied. Okay. Don't suppose the 3 and 4 conditions satisfied. Suddenly we can say that this is semi group. No. So if satisfy first two condition, then only we can say that this is semi group. First condition satisfied, then only you move on to second one. Otherwise you don't move on to second one. First two conditions satisfied, then only you move on to third one. Don't bother about fourth. Suppose 3 fails, don't no need to check the condition 4. Okay, did you understand? First condition is correct, so proceed to the second condition. So first condition fail, no need to check the second condition. If first two conditions satisfied, go for the third condition. If first condition satisfied, second condition fails, no need to check the third condition. Similarly, first three satisfied, go for the fourth one, that is inverse axiom. If third condition fail, first two satisfied, third failed, no need to check the fourth one. Clear? So semi group means first two conditions satisfied, that is nothing but close in words. It satisfies closure axiom, associative axiom, then only we can say that it's a semi group. Okay. Any guess monoid? Okay, Shalini Swati give the correct answer. Monoid means first three conditions, that is closure, associative, identity. 4 conditions satisfied, then we can say that monoid. Okay. Sir, 3 conditions. A non-empty set S with a binary operation star is set to one monoid if it satisfies the closure, associative, and identity. I missed something. Okay. A non-empty set with a binary operation star is said to be monoid if satisfies the closure, associative, identity axiom. Here the line is missing. Okay. Monoid means it satisfies closure, associative, and identity. Okay. So for semi-group, monoid, and at least group, for 3 cases in your plus 2 book, there is a table, because in first class I show some table for binary operation. The similar table for semi-group, group, and monoid. There is a table you can find in your plus 2 book. Please go through it. There are a lot of example. Understand the example. It's very helpful for you. Okay. If you discuss that table also, the time will not enough. Okay, because up to 3 classes I define only the definition of group only. That is the first topic. Okay, so I lost three class hours. Okay, so just I move on to the examples of groups. Okay, but 1 mark problem you have to clear about when the certain by operation satisfied closure, when the certain operation satisfied closure and associative, then when the certain binary operation satisfied closure associative identity, when the certain binary operation satisfied closure associative identity inverse. You have to check this way. Okay. Example 1. Just I move on to the example 1. Okay. Still identity. Good. Hemraj also give the correct answer. So once again I recall, because why I am recall many times. So this is most important. Okay, I will show one example, sir. Why they are grouping these 4 axiom only group structure? There is any reason behind that one? Once again I repeat, sir. Suppose one of the student asks me like that, sir, why we grouping only these 4 axioms? Only these 4 axioms grouping with the set with some binary operation, then we can call group. There is any reason behind that one? Why we grouping the 4 axiom only says the group with some set with some binary operation? I will show the reason. Okay. After that we move on to the example. I stop the presenting now here. Okay, in the first class itself, already I told that you are the computer science engineers. So you have to teach the computer. When you write the program, means what do you mean by writing the program in your computer? So you have to teach to your computer how to solve this, how to do this, and so on. Okay, just I delete this. Okay, my voice is audible. The screen is visible. Please anyone reply me, because when I open this app, I don't know whether my voice is mic is mute or unmute. Okay, okay,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you, thank you, thank you. Okay, just please a simple equation. Simple equation. You know all the things, but you act as a computer. Okay, you all are act as a computer. Then only you can understand the group theory concept. Suppose I want to solve the equation. You have to teach to the computer how to solve the equation. Suppose I have the equation x plus 5, which is equal to some 7. Okay. So you have to write the program, or you have to teach to the computer how to solve this equation. Okay. Anyone just interact with me. How to solve this equation? How to teach your clearly, very well, the clear things all, very well how to solve this, but how to teach to your computer? There is a proper structure, or how to there is any procedure for solving this equation? First, to solve mathematically easily, you can understand that mathematical concept convert into program. How do you solve this? Pure mathematical way. Please reply me. Variable to one side and constant to other side. Okay. You cannot bring the number from one side to other side. This is not possible in mathematics. Who said I can bring this number to other side? This is not possible. Then what is the appropriate operation? Tell me.
Subtract 5 on both sides, sir.
This is an pakka mathematical procedure. In school days, you can say that the 5 answer po. If you bring the 5 to the other side, it will change the sign. This is a shortcut, but mathematically that is not possible. So mathematically, what we have to do is subtract 5 on both sides. Okay. How do you find that 5 minus 5? How do you say that? Who answered me? Just reply me. Student, reply me. How do you find that subtract 5 on both sides? How do you find that? Hello? I think Vignesh gave the answer. We need to have no values in case. Okay, how do you teach this to your computer? How do you teach this to your computer? This simplest program already, simply you can add it, just write it, you will get the answer. I accept it. Okay, but initially when computers discovered, in that case, how do you solve this equation? How do you teach to the computer? Vignesh, tell me, how do you find that minus? See, நான் கேட்கறவங்களுக்கு பதில் சொல்லு. எப்படி -5 உனக்கு தெரிஞ்சது அது சொல்லு. உனக்கு எப்படி தெரிஞ்சதோ உன் மூளைக்கு எப்படி அந்த ஆன்சர் கண்டுபிடிச்சா அதை சிஸ்டத்தை சொல்லி தரணும், அவ்வளவுதான். சிம்பிள்.
சார் இத வந்து டேர்ம் பை டேர்ம் கன்சிடர் பண்ணிக்கிட்டா எந்தெந்த டேர்ம் வந்து நியூமரிக் செக் பண்ணுவோம் சார். எந்த
இல்ல how do you find -5?
Yes sir, when a term is not numeric, I should just take the term and put a minus in front of it, sir.
Directly we can put minus and say, what is the purpose of subtracting 5 on both sides?
To get rid of all the numerical terms, sir. So that only
what is the value of 5 minus 5? What is the
Zero,
value
sir.
of phi?
Zero. Zero.
So first 0 belongs to the system. 0 is known to the system. Then only the operation is applicable. Did you accept me?
Yeah, yes, sir.
That means first I have to apply the inverse axiom. Here I have a number 5. Here I have a number 5. First you have to observe the number 5. Before that, which system, from the which system this equation is. First you have to define like that. Okay. I will tell later. When we are moved to the field, I will tell you. First, initially, before solve the equation, we define some system, some number system. Okay. From that number system, I have to from the C for finding the value of x, I have to remove 5. How do you remove 5? I have to subtract 5 on both sides. You will get the answer. How do you know that? How do you find that value? That is nothing but inverse element of 5 in that given set. Okay, under the operation of addition. So what is the inverse element of 5 under the operation of addition? It's clearly minus 5. So x plus 5, okay, then add with minus 5 on both sides. Okay, so now I can add minus 5 on both sides. The finding minus 5 is nothing but our inverse axiom. Finding minus 5 is nothing but our inverse axiom. Okay, if identity axiom satisfied, then only the 5 plus minus 5 becomes 0. If it is 0 belongs to the given set, then only you can solve this equation. That is, here in identity axiom play a vital role. 5 minus 5, 5 plus minus 5, nothing but 0. So this is valid only identity axiom satisfied. Okay. So right answer is simply closure axiom. Right answer is simply closure axiom. So 7 minus 5 is 2. The 2 should belong to the given set. So 7 minus 5 is nothing but here closure axiom plays. The first step, finding minus 5, inverse axiom plays. Then 5 plus minus 5 is nothing but identity axiom, because 0 should belong to the given set. 7 minus 5 is nothing but a closure axiom. Now x plus 0 is x. X plus 0 is x. Who says x plus 0 is x? This is nothing but identity axiom. Okay. Okay. Then so x plus 0 is x. So this is nothing but here the identity axiom should satisfy, because before solving the equation you have to define some number system. With respect to the number system only we can solve this equation. So I know is 0 plus any number, that number you know very well. But how do you teach to the computer? Okay, because computers whatever given, what you tell, that is computer will did it. Okay, so here the place x plus 0 is x. This is nothing but identity axiom. Finally, we have the answer x equal to 2. Okay, for solving this equation, you need the group structure, binary. Binary is nothing but closure. Then here, okay, here I missed the associative symbol. See, where I use the associative, I will explain. First, I have x plus 5. Okay, x plus 5. I adding minus 5 on both sides. I adding minus 5 on both sides. That means left hand side I have x plus 5. Okay, add with minus 5. Right hand side also 7. I add with minus 5. Next step, I have to apply the associative axiom. Then only I can write it x plus 5 minus 5. If associative axiom not possible, here I cannot do this step. Okay, so 7 plus 7 plus minus 5. So here closure, here associative, here inverse, here identity, here identity. So when you solve the simple equation, you need the group structure. Then only you can solve this equation by using the computer. You may say that trial and error, it is easily possible. You may say that, I accept it. But in computer point of view, you think as a computer, then only you can clearly understand why we have to study closure axiom, associative axiom, identity axiom, inverse axiom. All together only you can solve this equation. If you miss any one of the axiom, you cannot solve this equation. So only this 4 axiom minimum this 4 axiom needed for solving a simple equation. Okay, I will explain one more thing. For group structure, you need this. For ring structure, we have some another equation. for field structure, we need a one more equation. Okay. So I will give the question only for suppose I want to solve x plus 7 is equal to some 5. I need the group structure x plus minus x plus 7 equal to 5. Solve this equation. I need ring structure. Sorry, group. I need for solving this equation. I need ring structure. Suppose I solve this equation. I need a field structure. Okay. So this is a simple way why I have to study group structure, ring structure, field structure. Suppose I want to solve x plus I want to solve x plus 5. That is the coefficient of x is 1. Then for solving this equation, I need group structure. The coefficient of x is minus 1. So for solving this equation, I need ring structure. The coefficient of x is other than 1. I have to solve this. Suppose the equation, the coefficient of x is 2. For solve this equation, I need field structure. Okay. Did you understand what I said? At least someone understand. Please reply me.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Yes, sir. At least by chat. Okay. So this is the main aim of studying groups, rings, and field. This is the one of the aim, not main aim. This is the simple thing. So for same thing, we can apply group theory structure and ring structure and field structure in many places. Okay. This is the simplest application. Okay. We have 3 more minutes. Okay, just we seen one examples of group. Remaining things just do it as a homework. Okay, because you know all the things. Even though I have to explain some examples. Okay, quickly I can explain. Okay, example 1. Prove that z comma plus is an infinite abelian group. Z comma z is a set, the set of all integers. My binary is addition. You have to prove z comma plus an infinite abelian group. That means for proving group I need 4 conditions. For proving abelian group I need the 5th condition, commutative property. When we say the infinite group, the set of the numbers of z are infinite, so we can say that this is an infinite abelian group. Okay. See, when we say the set is an infinite set, Z is an infinite set. When we say Z is an infinite abelian group, it satisfies all the 4 conditions together with infinite number of elements, then only we can say that it's an infinite abelian group. Suppose, can we say that n comma plus is an infinite group? Can we say n comma plus is an infinite group? Or infinite abelian group? No, because n comma plus identity will fail because 0 doesn't belong to n. So identity fails. So n comma plus is in semigroup only. We can say that infinite semigroup. We cannot say that infinite abelian group. Okay. So infinite abelian group means first 4 conditions of group, then commutative property, then we can with addition condition there are infinitely many members of Z. So we can say that infinite abelian group. So first I have to check the first condition, that is choose any 2 element in Z. What is the closure axiom? If you choose any 2 element in Z, I have to apply the operation. The resultant also belongs to Z. That means here A plus B belongs to Z or not. Here A plus B belongs to Z or not. If you choose 2 element in Z, whether the sum is in Z or not. Addition of 2 integers is again an integer, so obviously A plus B belongs to Z. So closure axiom is satisfied. Then what is your associative axiom? If you choose 3 elements in Z, A star B star C plus A star B star C is satisfied. So that means here A plus B plus C, A plus B plus C, which is obviously equal. Since addition is always associative, you can one thing conclude that addition and multiplication always associative. Only one operation addition, only one operation multiplication always addition and multiplication is associative. You keep in your mind. So therefore associative axiom is satisfied. What is the inverse identity axiom? If you choose any element in Z, direction element E in Z, such that A plus E here, because here star is addition, so operation is addition, so A plus E is equal to E plus A equal to A. So easily you can derive, don't think too much, easily you can derive, for any set easily you can derive it. Some one or two set is difficult to derive, but for matrix difficult to derive, but in other cases easily you can derive the identity element. First I have to consider A plus B equal to A, then simplify, so that subtract on A on both sides, E equal to A minus A, E equal to 0. Easily I can get E value, but you have to check whether E belongs to Z or not. Clearly E belongs to E equal to 0 belongs to Z. If it is not satisfied, identity axiom fail. So E is 0, which is belongs to Z. Therefore, identity axiom is satisfied. What is the inverse axiom? If you choose any element in Z, direction element in Z such that A plus A inverse, because here operation is addition, so A plus A inverse equal to A inverse plus A equal to E. So here also easily you can derive A inverse, but you have to verify whether A inverse belongs to the given set or not. So consider A plus A inverse equal to 0 because my identity element is 0. From the previous step, I know that my identity element is 0. So apply here. So A plus A inverse equal to 0. Subtract A on both sides. A inverse equal to minus A. Whether I have to check minus A belongs to Z or not. Minus A belongs to Z. How we say that? If A belongs to Z, definitely minus A also belongs to Z, because the structure of Z is what? 0 plus or minus 1 plus or minus 2 etc. and so on. If Z belongs to A belongs to Z, definitely minus A also belongs to Z. In the given axiom, A is we assume that A belongs to Z. From Z only I can pick my A. So obviously minus A also belongs to Z. Inverse axiom is satisfied. So fifth, because here I have to show that Z comma plus is infinite abelian group, so I have to check the fifth condition also. That is, if you choose any two element in Z, check the commutative property. Commutative property means apply the operation forward order as well as backward order. That is A plus B as well as B plus A. Both are equal, then commutative axiom is satisfied. Since addition is always commutative and multiplication also always commutative, except in matrix multiplication. Okay, so commutative axiom is satisfied. Since the number of elements in Z are infinite, we know that the number of elements in Z are infinite. So thus Z is an infinite abelian group under addition. Thus Z is an infinite abelian group under addition. Okay. So just try to homework, find the homework E, set of all even number plus addition, set of all rational number with addition, set of all real number addition, set of all complex number addition or infinite abelian group. So try to prove it, I will give the hint, okay. See, all are already sent my notes, PDF of my notes already sent your Google Classroom. So from that note only, just I cut it and present as a PPT, okay, PowerPoint presentation. So whatever in the slide, all the things in my notes also. Only few explanation not in my notes. That explanation only when I write it, when you see the slide, you can easily understand. Okay. So do it. I give the hint. So using the hints, try to prove the homework. In next class, we will see the remaining. Okay. So suffer my notes, easily you can understand. Okay. Do you have any doubt? Students, do you have any doubt? Can I wind up the session?